In this episode of Highlight Sundays, something different, something you didn't know before. Hello and welcome back to Highlight Sundays. It is the 48th week of 2013. It feels amazing to be back. Here are your highlights. We start off the day with an article from Mashable entitled Why Canada is a Testing Ground for Apps. Now, according to the article, this is actually pretty common knowledge among app developers, but well, maybe the general public doesn't really know. Well, in fact, I don't, which is why I found this article quite interesting. Apparently, Canada is a pretty popular choice for testing a program before its official release, which is why it seems that a lot of apps actually come out in Canada first. According to the article, they are a smaller demographic, yet a pretty good model for, the American demographic, which I would guess is their main target. That is, of course, not to mention that Canadians have that reputation of being very nice and friendly and approachable people, which, of course, makes their country a suitable testing ground. Apparently, other markets like New Zealand, Malaysia, Thailand, and more importantly, Singapore is also included under, a similar category. Why am I sharing this article? Well, not because it's particularly important unless you are a new app developer and you want to find, where you want to do testing. It's just interesting to know that a factor like this comes into play as well. And as a side benefit for the people, well, of course, they get to have an early preview of upcoming apps, things that might become really big in the future. We move on to yet another article from Mashable. This one is, some new technology or applications of technology for a more interesting purpose. The article is entitled Clever British Airways Billboard Tracks Airplanes as They Fly Ahead. So of course, you want to see this in action, you can actually head down to the link in the video description and you'll be taken to the Mashable article, which of course also contains a video. Essentially, this is a video billboard, and as a plane flies overhead, of course it's kinda near enough to where planes normally pass by, the billboard plays the animation of a kid running and just pointing to the plane, and then, well, information about that particular flight is shown. So of course this would be a novel and, a very interesting and somewhat different way of advertising. I'm definitely attracted to this for its novelty value. I mean, it probably takes quite a bit of coordination to get things to work together in this way. So yeah, once again you can head down to the video description to see this in action. Alright, you probably heard about something along these lines before. You know how you can get coupons or redemptions or things like that. And if you actually just find that loophole in the system, you can just go crazy and profiteer from it, probably quite significantly. This article from Gizmodo tells just that story. It is entitled How an Engineer Earned 1.25 million air miles by Buying Pudding. So the idea is there was this promotion of some sort that if you buy this particular pudding product, and if you buy 10 of them and send in the barcodes, well, you can exchange that for up to 1,000 air miles. So well, this guy put in the effort, he looked around to see if there's anywhere selling this particular product for a very low price, and he found it, one piece at 25 cents. And what that means, of course, is that for the price of just $2.50, he was able to buy 10 of such puddings to get 1,000 air miles. And yes, if you think that sounds crazy, you are absolutely right. He spent $3,000 on buying pudding, and that in turn earned him over $150,000 worth of air miles. The story goes on to tell how he actually distributed the labor, of tearing off all those barcodes and even getting people to just finish that pudding. So it is quite a long story. I've told you about half the story, and in the interest of time, I'm not going to continue. But yeah, in the gist of it, that is exactly what happened. He has several million air miles and has been using them quite happily for the past couple of years. To read up on the entire story unabridged, do head down to the link in your video description, which will bring you to this article on Gizmodo. Alright, let's actually learn something in this episode. Apart from the fact that puddings can get you a lot of money, our last article comes from Lifehacker and is entitled Learn Over 60 Google Now Commands with this infographic. Now, as you know, Google has actually recently added voice recognition to the actual google.com webpage. However, this particular set of commands are actually meant for Android phones running the Google Now software. I cannot actually confirm how many of these actually work within the Google search engine itself just yet, but at any rate, if you head down to this article in the video description, you'll be able to see a whole list of voice commands you can use, some of which are actually not inside the documentation. Of course, if you don't want or don't have access to Google Now, actually this list can also tell you some things about, searches on the actual google.com web page. Google provides things like inbuilt conversion of currency. It does things like, tell you what time it is in a certain time zone. And of course, not to forget, Google also has a built-in calculator. And that particular calculator is actually pretty powerful. It can do some things you might not be able to find on a standard calculator. So yeah, the infographic can also remind you of these things. Once again, if you're interested to find out more, do head down to the video description. You will find this article from Lifehacker. So that's it. That's all for today's 4 articles. So just a little update, in case you missed my earlier messages, you might not have known I was on hiatus for all of November. All the episodes you've seen on Wednesday and Friday were backlogged episodes. I haven't been recording for an entire month, but now I'm back. And I'm back with a little challenge for December. For those of you following me on my official Twitter account, you will realize that I tweeted an image. It is basically a screenshot of Google Calendar, and it gives you a good overview of what I intend to do for December, which is 1 episode every other day. Yes, starting from today's episode of Highlight Sundays, you will get an episode roughly once every other day. We will still have Friday minis this week and next, which is why of course the every other day thing is slightly off even though the numbers are correct. Then for the last couple of weeks in December, we will actually temporarily not have Friday minis episodes, but of course we will still keep the every other day pattern. I'll be doing 2 series for the end of the year, one of which will be a shorter one starting this week and spanning from this week to the next, and then after that we will have a longer series. Of course, I won't go into too much detail just yet, just stay tuned, you'll get an episode every other day, approximately. For those of you who just celebrated Thanksgiving, well, a belated happy Thanksgiving to you. I hope you took advantage of, some deals over Black Friday. And well, since there's the whole Cyber Monday thing now, many stores actually still have their promotions and discounts up until the 2nd of December. So if you haven't been shopping yet, you will still have a chance. Especially for gamers out there, Steam has been slashing prices of a lot of games. So this would be a time to go through your wish list and see if there's anything that, falls within your budget now. I've been playing Papers, Please. I bought it for $5. So yeah, that's a thing. Anyway, that's all there is for this episode of Highlight Sundays. If you have any comments, queries, or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow the official Twitter account for this channel at twitter.com/0612tv. Don't forget I appreciate every like, favorite, and subscription you give me. Until next time, you're watching 0612TV.